It's your boy WEEZYFMAMBA, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys once again so much for being here. We really appreciate it. On today's video, we are going to be discussing essentially the rise, the fall, the demise of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game created by Gun Interactive. We have been a prolific and avid content creator for TCM for the last 17 months, ever since the tech test back in May of 2023. The game fully launched in August of 2023, and we have been consistently uploading content on Twitch and YouTube for the last 17 months. We have roughly 1,200 YouTube videos, and about 1,000 of them are the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in relation. I come to you in this video with a heavy heart, simply because, as you guys have seen and known, our discussions that we have talked about over the last couple of weeks, especially the last 2 weeks, with the decision-making of Gun Interactive throughout its entire process, throughout its entire lifespan, but especially the decision-making in the last 2 months since the anniversary update. Again, this is a sore subject for me because without TCM, I don't know where my channels would be. We started streaming on Twitch in December of 22. It'll be 2 years next month. And in 2 years, we have been able to start our YouTube career as well, processing that. And we have garnered over 6,000 subscribers and almost 3 million views accumulated. It's been a crazy time, especially for somebody in their mid-30s, starting late in this game. Most content creators are in between the range of 20 and 30, right? 20 and 25 specifically. So a lot of the time, I feel like I'm an old man in a young man's game. And it's hard for me. It does get hard to discuss things like this, especially since it's something I've never done before. This is my first video where I'm really coming to you guys, you know, with my heart on my sleeve and emotional, pissed, happy, sad. Every emotion you can think of is basically what we feel right now. What's going to happen in the future? What caused this? Etc. What we're going to do is kind of break down my experience over the last year and a half with this game and with the community. I've written a script, which I will be essentially reading over some gameplay footage. I'm going to have the gameplay footage muted. You guys are just going to see, you know, some games. I don't have really good editing skills yet here. I'm going to try my best to kind of splice this all together for you. But this is a necessary video, and I have to have my voice heard. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching this video. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but we're going to go ahead and, you know, transition over to some gameplay footage with a voiceover, essentially. I'm going to be having a little voiceover. So I appreciate you guys once again so much for being here. Thank you for listening to my voice. Thank you for giving me a platform to do this, because I need this to be done. I need to get this off my chest. So thank you again. If you can for me, please drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, okay? And don't forget to turn on the notification bells. That way you guys get notified every time I go live here on YouTube, over on Twitch, and of course, anytime that I'm going to bring you new content, whether it be more TCM content, future DBD content, etc. It would be nice for you guys to be here. So thank you again, and let's get to the video. We'll see you there. All right, guys. Thank you once again so much for being here. We are officially at the rise, the fall, and the untimely demise of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Now, before we begin, let's be clear on something here. Gun created an incredible game with extreme replay value for someone like me and many others. But it doesn't mean it was perfect. In fact, it's far from it. This video is for educational purposes, aimed at future developers of video games, from what a player/fan/content creator sees behind the scenes. A true, raw description of our experience and what not to do. Let's begin. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre launch trailer promoted a must-be stealthy, terrifying game that captured the essence of the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. That quickly became not to be the case. We begin with the tech test era, which arguably was the perfect era of this game for the following reasons. Nobody knew the maps. The maze that is the basement was terrifying, and hearing Leatherface's chainsaw echo throughout your headphones truly was a thing of nightmares. There were no overpowered perks, and Bubba's chainsaw overheated always with overheads because the star signs were locked during the testing phase, making it risky to overhead, yet at a high reward. Fast forward to when the main game releases. The first main issue with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the absolutely horrific tutorial, which is still exactly the same today as it was then. A non-playable tutorial forcing people to read your non-interactive tutorial is never a good start, as most people skip any form of reading and learn better hands-on. This caused a lot of players to not understand the mechanics of the game from the very beginning, and which is still affecting new players today. Example, baby family members not knowing of even as simply relocking the critical doors behind them as they open them and come through. Fast forward 2 weeks. We've now learned some things, thus leading into the rush meta and stun lock meta era. With rush meta being introduced and people figuring out moving quickly was your best chance at escaping the family, not giving them time to think, strategize, or even setting up a vital mechanic for family, traps. We also used to have to turn on the battery and the generator, for fuck's sake. That would easily take a few minutes, especially on Slaughterhouse. Speaking of Slaughterhouse, remember the valve tank used to spawn in the basement? Yes, literally, the fucking basement. The top story of abandoned mill valve location currently is just as bad, and that's still in the game. That would be a guaranteed escape for victims now, if families still had to turn these things on. Rushing means that the scary, having to be stealthy aspect of the game was gone within the first week. Stealth is an entire game mechanic and attribute point that bears no weight or has any use, as Gun promoted a stealthy game only to significantly nerf stealth? What the fuck? Stun meta was discovered and constantly abused by the majority of the toxic side of the community. Stun locking Leatherface in the basement, completely eliminating someone from the match, ultimately leading to the next issue. The DC bug. Back at launch, when someone disconnected from the game and the early stages of TCM, the lobbies would crash. The game would last an additional 20 to 30 seconds of us running around, not being able to swing or interact with anything, and ultimately crashing us back to the lobby and gaining 0 experience points from the game. Next, randomized perks. A skill tree design that had random nodes of a set insert of perks, which would require you to constantly respec in order to lottery shoot the meta perks you wanted. This was a horrific idea, which we became accustomed to, which actually was fun to me, frankly, simply because I'm a glutton for punishment. I once re-rolled Leland for 47 minutes to get 1 perk. If you ask anybody now, they will all say they miss it, because the new skill tree reworks are awful on both sides. Shuffling perks so they can't be guaranteed paired together really made things more difficult on the victim side, and certain family members were affected by this change drastically. Now, let's continue. Let's get to the 2 biggest problems in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 1, and this is universal for everybody. Queue times. The lobbies. Lobbies used to require Leatherface to start the game. The requirement at first sounded great simply because it's Bubba. He's the face, the franchise. Quickly did that become an issue because of his skill gap. Nobody wanted to be Bubba because his learning curve to be effective was extremely tough. This is why I became a Leatherface main, simply because nobody fucking played him. I had to get content, to play a match. I had to be Leatherface. I'm happy that I did, because it became what I am today, a Bubba main who dominates. Continuing with lobby issues. The goddamn information on screen was ridiculous. Even Saber did this. Behavior did this. Why do people fucking do this? The fact that the lobbies used to display our player levels and even going as far as letting the other team know we were partied up together was absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen so many DCs in my life because it showed a 4-stack of level 99s on the other team. Why do development teams create the code for other players to see potential information that would warrant to want them to dodge? This ultimately leads to the backfill issues. Somebody leaves, nobody is able to fill. The lobby breaks. Rinse and repeat. All because we had too much intel of the other team on screen. Broken lobbies ensued. Backfill issues. Sometimes making us wait 20 plus minutes. And at the time, there were no DC penalties. Number 2, the hacking. Impersonation of content creators. This, to me, is the biggest issue for me, as I can engage with chat waiting for lobbies or be on my phone waiting for lobbies if I'm off stream. But the impersonation of people's brands is where the major line is drawn. Countless comments to myself, multiple friends and content creators of people accusing us of hacking when it was actually done by other people impersonating us with our names. The ability to change your in-game name is absolutely unacceptable. But at the very least, Gunn could have made a post about the impersonators. You know, that would have been really fucking helpful with large social media presence that you have. Did they? No. They not only left us high and dry to fend for ourselves, but they further blew it out by ghosting us in their DMs as we brought it up to them multiple times. Unacceptable. Bugs, stuck spots, attribute bugs, XP farms, hit detection issues, button mapping, blood trails, etc. This game from the jump has been riddled with issues that were either addressed via a hotfix or are still currently in the game. More on that later. Social media presence and dev streams. Gun has been one of the absolute worst with social media transparency. Half-assed repeated answers, deleting comments on Reddit, calling them out about it. Radio silence for days at a time. Matt actually talking disgustingly and disrespectfully to the community is a major red flag. Makes it seem like they only cared about the money and not even the product or customers. Also, the worthless posts. How many times we stabbed Nugget and how many bone charms we cut down between the months of December and January. The resources calculating that data could have been used to figure out a way to improve the game. But hey, stay tuned. Next on the agenda is DLC costs. One of the most expensive investments I've ever had to do. Everything that has been released up to date and the future DLC already announced at the time of this video recording, the price comes in at a whopping $300.68. What the entire fuck? Look, I'm not knocking somebody's hustle, but for these costs, I better be able to put a loincloth on Bubba or a Speedo on Cook. Sticking to the 1970s lore ultimately hurt this game more than it helped. People want crazy shit. Give us an in-game store that we can earn and use Bubba Bucks on to unlock shit. Instead of focusing on private match changes like they mentioned in the latest dev stream, that time should have been focused on raising the level cap and adding an in-game currency. Such a shame that the resources being used were put towards things that nobody gave a fuck about. Next, properly give props to the correct people. Ultimately, and many content creators agree, that the biggest slap in the face was their community shout-out post. Shouting out Dead by Daylight content creators who quit playing their game after 90 days and never came back? They didn't even come back for Rush Week. But they left the likes of Arctic, Midi, A-James, Alucard, Caliber, Nick Nasty, Mel Too Solid, myself, and many others off the list. Are you fucking kidding me? This hurt every one of our feelings more than anything. The hurt we felt reading that post, shouting out people who never created content other than streaming, who haven't touched the game in a year, get recognition? Fucking bullshit. You want to know why the player count is depleted faster than a bottle of baby oil at Diddy's house? Peaking at roughly 51,000 players in the first month, 17,000 on each platform. The game quickly halved in its first month, dropping to roughly 30K in its second month. TCM halved again. Third month and beyond, TCM has been sitting at roughly 400 to 500 players daily combined on all platforms. Why has the player count dwindled so much in a game based on a beloved franchise? Rush meta, nerfing stealth, never properly fixing lobbies and queue times, grapple meta, choose fight, a broken perk that has not even been talked about or attempted at a rework by the devs. And the huge kicker? The removal of Game Pass. It's a shame that nobody can ever compete with behavior. Even with all the problems, this game is still 1,000 times better than DBD. So why do we ask? We ask why. Why is DBD so successful? Licensed content and goofy originals. Why did the player base dwindle so fast? Because you had to stay true to the 1970s lore and give us legitimate recolored outfits that cost money? Bruh, for real. You had a far better DLC outline in Friday the 13th, your previous game. So, where do we go from here? ASIM developers need to realize that balancing a game based off the bottom 1% or the top 1% is not how you do it. You balance from the majority of your players. Most players will sit in the middle. Beginners get punished in every game. It's not just TCM. We got punished when we started and had to learn and adapt. Learning as a beginner would have been much easier if we had an interactive fucking tutorial. Future QA tests must include streamers and content creators of the community. Devs don't play their game or don't have time to play their product enough to test it thoroughly. Leave that up to us, people who actually do and have time to play. A direct link, a direct source to seeing what the issues are and reporting them. Gun, listen, you need more social media presence. Let us know things, even if it's vague. Hey guys, I know you want news, but we're working on it. And it will be back with you shortly. Share a community post about your product. It's nice to read positive things that people say about your game. Share content creator videos. Not only are you helping your game get even more exposure with Twitter likes and Twitter clicks, but also you're helping content creators get discovered. It's a win-win for you and your customers that spent money on you. You need to do extensive research of who you listen to in the future. If you make balance changes based off someone's opinion who only plays one side, is completely wrong and frankly idiotic. In order to balance correctly, you have to take advice from people who play both sides. Let's discuss one last thing before my final thoughts on this whole matter. And that is once again returning back to how you allow your social media sites to be ran. You have all of these rules in place, yet have never taken action, letting all of these toxic individuals have spewed so much hate on multiple occasions. I have been fat shamed, body shamed, told to kill myself. I have been accused of cheating, accused of tampering with game files, accused of spreading false information, which is all a lie. How could a multi-million-dollar company allow one of their hard-working, ass-busting content creators be told such heinous things and no moderation be done? Your lack of awareness of the things that are going on in your camp is an absolute travesty. Especially the things that were said about my wife and kids. Slut-shaming, saying that my wife and kids deserve better, saying that my wife is a whore and that she is cheating on my fat ass right now as we speak, all in your fucking Discord. Unacceptable. These are the type of things you allow in your fucking Discord. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. And lastly, but certainly not least, don't lie. 10 months ago, you said you were working on an in-game currency and level cap increase. You also said that you would be providing hotfixes if needed in an emergency outside of your monthly update cycle. The Xbox crash bug has been going on for 4 weeks. Had been going on for 4 weeks. And it was absolutely asinine and pathetic that you didn't do anything about it. A full month where people who just bought and rebought your game due to the Game Pass removal had to wait 4 weeks for any changes. Asinine. Absolutely absurd. To finish things up, I do want to say this at least. That no matter how emotional I feel right now, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time creating content for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, despite its flaws over the past 17 months. This game made my channel what it is today. Thousands of subscribers, millions of views. For that, I'm grateful for Gun and what they produced. It's just sad what it has become. I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit just because Gun's product helped increase my channel revenue. Plain and simple. I just want them to look at this and become better educated on the subject matter. And hopefully, this video reaches other dev companies. That way, they don't go down the same path. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, if you feel me, leave a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys feel about all this. Also, if you don't mind, can you drop a like? Can you hit the subscribe button? And of course, turn on that noti bell. That way you guys get notified when I bring you new shit. I'm really hoping that this video can be used as educational purposes. And ultimately, that's all I got to say. Ultimately, I hope it works. Thank you guys so much. And we'll catch you on the next video. Y'all have a good day now. Peace out.